Even a man who is pure in heart and says his prayers by night may become a wolf when the wolfbane blooms and the autumn moon is bright. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Howling Halloween. Welcome back, everyone, to Howling Halloween. Today we shall be looking at Bad Moon. A movie that reminds me a lot of Venom, where both are kind of on the generic, slightly underwhelming side due to a messy script, but could have been better if a handful of changes were made. So with that glowing praise, let's hop right into what makes this film work and what holds it back from being up there with some of the great werewolf movies. And by great, I mean these two. For starters, the werewolf design and costume is pretty freaking sweet, with the werewolf being entirely practical. That is with the exception of the transformation scene, which is really bad, but hey, all the other special effects are practical, including the blood and gore, so I'm fine with the 30-second sequence of bad CGI. The gore and action is also a lot of fun, with lots of blood and a unique death where the werewolf attacks from the trees. And come on, who doesn't love a fight between a werewolf and a German Shepard? I mean, maybe PETA, but who cares what they think since they end up killing all their animals anyway. Also, if I'm being honest, I think this film does a much better job of the horror and suspense angle than the Wolfman remake, which is really just all jump scares and gets tiring, which, if I'm being honest, overall I probably did overhype that film more than it deserved in the Howling Halloween review I gave it. I do appreciate the Western type showdown they were trying to build up between Thor and Ted, but because the script suffers from some problems, it's not quite as effective as the film wants it to be, which leads to the bigger problem: the characters. Janet is an okay character. I definitely feel like she's a better example of a strong, independent female character. Maybe it's because she actually has moments of weakness and flaws. But she's really the only good character in this film. The kid is a kid, not much to say there. Thor is the protective dog that is keen in on the fact that Ted is very sus, and you definitely root for him, but I really can't say Thor has a character since he is just a dog. Although it's hard not to like a dog, especially when it's protecting its family. So, you know, Thor's already automatically gonna be loved by everyone because it's a dog and people do not like seeing dogs get hurt. There's Flopsy, who's here to die in a pretty awesome way, I might add, but again, nothing there.
Nice doggy.
So that leaves us with Ted the werewolf himself, who is almost a great character, and I feel like if he were to be fixed, then the rest of the movie would have greatly improved. The problem is that Ted has two very different personalities, and the problem with that is that he's constantly flip-flopping between them, making it hard to determine if he's a tortured man trying to prevent himself from hurting others, or if he's slowly succumbing to the werewolf urges. And we don't see a slow de-evolution of going from a man to a beast-like behavior, but the flip-flopping occurs in back-to-back scenes, with one scene where Ted is happy that Thor is being taken away after he bites him, going so far as to pee on his doghouse to mark his territory, and later that night telling Janet that he should have kept the dog as he's transforming.
You sent the dog to the pound, Janet. I warned you. I told you I shouldn't be here, but you wouldn't let me go. You wanted to play big sister. You had to be right. You always have to be right, Janet, but this time you're wrong. You should have listened to the dog, Janet.
It's a shame because the stuff with Ted getting emotional about hurting others or putting others at risk is genuinely really good, but the character's inconsistencies really screw it up, making the viewer more confused than saddened by Ted and his dilemma. Overall, this is a fairly standard werewolf movie, with me coming to find out there's a lot more decent to bad werewolf movies than there are great ones. There's not really a whole lot else to say about this movie. It's relatively short and it's not trying to accomplish a lot, so you can't really dock it for a lot. Take this mini review for it as is. And we shall be ending this Howling Halloween next week with the classic American Werewolf in London, which is not only the best werewolf film, but one of my favorite films of all time. So stay tuned, everyone. Spank all those buttons, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.